While sorting through my late husband's belongings, I unexpectedly discovered a remittance list and a photograph. Only then did I realize that my taciturn husband had only his first love, Kira Lynn, in his heart. To help his first love raise her son, he had been sending half of his monthly salary to her. Before his death, he even left a will, unconditionally bequeathing half of his estate to Kira Lynn and her son. Before I could even process my shock and grief, Kira Lynn barged into my home with her son, demanding that I vacate the house. I was so enraged that I suffered a heart attack and collapsed, dead. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day I received my university acceptance letter. Student Dina Chen, congratulations on your admission to Beijing Medical University. You are the first female student from our night school to be admitted to university, and you are the pride of our night school. The teacher patted my shoulder kindly. You must study hard and use your medical skills to heal more people in the future. Teacher, I will live up to your expectations and the nation's cultivation of me. I nodded firmly, overwhelmed with gratitude. But teacher, could you please not tell anyone about my college admission for now? Why? The teacher looked somewhat puzzled. I'm afraid someone might impersonate me. I casually made up an excuse. The teacher understood and agreed to my request. I held the admission letter tightly to my chest, as if embracing my newfound hope. Stepping out of the school, the autumn breeze brushed against my cheeks, yet it couldn't dispel the days in my heart. Have I really been reborn? Recalling the events of my past life, grievances and resentment surged over me like a tidal wave. I could no longer hold back and ran to the small grove behind the school, where I burst into loud sobs. In my past life, I gave up the opportunity to attend university for Sage Gu. I abandoned my dreams and lost myself. I thought my sacrifices would earn his genuine affection in return. I believed that even if we didn't share passionate romance, at least we had mutual respect akin to family. Until the truth exploded, I realized my past life was nothing but a joke. While sorting through Sage Gu's belongings that day, I unexpectedly discovered a remittance list and a photograph. On the list, a fixed amount was transferred every month to the same name, Kira Lynn. In that photograph, Sage Gu was holding a boy, with Kira Lynn standing beside them, the three of them smiling like a happy family. At that moment, my world collapsed. Turns out, his heart had always belonged to his first love. He spent half his monthly salary supporting another woman's son, yet demanded I live frugally and spend money carefully. He even left half his estate to Kira Lynn and her child in his will, and I, his wife of 50 years, was left with only one sentence from him. Don't make things difficult for Kira and her son. Before I could recover from the shock, Kira Lynn barged into my home with her son and daughter-in-law, full of aggression. Dina Chen, get out of here while you still can. This house belongs to us now. Kira Lynn's shrill voice still echoes in my ears to this day. Her son and daughter-in-law also looked down on me with arrogance, their eyes filled with contempt and disdain. Mom, why waste so many words on her? Just throw her stuff out, her daughter-in-law arrogantly shouted. You. I was trembling with rage, my heart gripped by a sharp pain. Everything went black, and I collapsed, dead. When I opened my eyes again, I had somehow returned to the day I received my college acceptance letter. I am utterly delighted. I am extremely excited. Since the heavens have given me a chance to live again, in this life, I will never repeat the same mistakes. I want to live for myself. I want to walk a life path without Sage Gu. The first thing I did when I got home was to carefully store the admission letter. In my past life, I was overjoyed when I received the admission letter and couldn't wait to share the good news with Sage Gu. He showed no joy, only a hint of sadness, and said, Dina, don't go to Beijing. The family needs you, and I need you too. At the time, I thought he just didn't want to be apart from me. I was deeply moved and foolishly gave up the chance to attend university. Only after living a second life did I realize, he didn't need me at all. He just needed a woman to handle household chores for him, a woman to dutifully care for his aging parents. I stared at the calendar on the table. It's still a month. One more month and I can leave this place to start my new life. When I picked up the desk calendar, I unexpectedly found a piece of paper underneath it. I unfolded that piece of paper and examined it carefully, suddenly astonished. This was actually the marriage report that Sage Gu had submitted to the military. Shouldn't it have been submitted as early as half a year ago? Why wasn't it? Oh, now I remember. That day 6 months ago was when Kira Lin came with her son to seek refuge with Sage Gu. As soon as he heard the news, he immediately rushed to the station to pick up the mother and child. He was in no mood at all to submit the marriage report to the military. That day, I was so foolishly happy that I cooked a whole table of delicious dishes at home, waiting to celebrate with him. But I waited from morning till night, only for him to tell me he was on duty. Only after living a second life did I realize he was lying. That night, he must have been busy settling Kira Lin and her child. Staring at this marriage report, I suddenly felt an overwhelming sense of irony. It no longer had any reason to exist. I struck a match and burned this ridiculous marriage report. The scarlet flames danced, as if mocking the foolishness of my past life. Just then, the door was pushed open. "Dina, did you make the chive and pork dumplings as I asked? Chichi is hungry." It was Sage Gu's voice. He walked in, followed by Kira Lin and her son Jiangqi. Sage Gu covered Jiangqi's nose, frowned, and looked at me reproachfully. "Dina, what are you burning? Aren't you afraid of choking Chichi?" I raised my eyes and looked coldly at the intimate scene of their family of three, my tone icy. "Nothing, just some unwanted things." Sage Gu was taken aback. Seemingly not expecting my attitude to be so cold, he quickly regained his composure, his tone tinged with urgency. "Are the dumplings ready? Chichi had a lot of activity at kindergarten today and needs to eat more dumplings." As he spoke, he walked toward the kitchen and lifted the pot lid, only to find it empty. Turning around, his tone grew even more displeased. "Dina, why didn't you cook the dumplings? Don't you know how hungry Chichi is?" No sooner had he finished speaking than Jiangqi burst into tears, wailing, I'm hungry, I'm so hungry. Daddy, I want dumplings." "Did he just call you Dad?" I scoffed, my tone dripping with sarcasm. Both Sage Gu and Kira Lin paled, a flicker of panic flashing in their eyes. Kira Lin immediately put on an aggrieved expression, explaining in a sugary, manipulative tone, "Dina, don't misunderstand. The child just calls him that randomly. I've corrected him several times, but Sage said there's no need to correct him. He said his long considered Chichi as his own son in his heart, as if afraid I'd blame Kira Lin." Sage Gu quickly chimed in, "Dina, don't be so petty. Okay, it's just a title. Besides, I've already decided to adopt Chichi as my godson. What's wrong with him calling me Dad?" I sneered inwardly, my tone indifferent. "Call him whatever you want, it's none of my concern." Sage Gu's expression turned awkward as he embarrassingly changed the subject. "Dina, why didn't you cook dumplings after work? I clearly told you last night. In the past, I loved him and would accommodate him in everything, yielding to his wishes. But now, I no longer love him. My heart is already dead, and all that remains for him is indifference," I said coldly. "I'm very tired today and don't feel like cooking. If you want to eat something, make it yourselves. Do you think you'll starve to death just because I don't cook?" They stared at me in shock, as if they couldn't believe these words had come from my mouth. In the past, even if I was unhappy about something, I would never show it openly and would just endure it silently. But now, I won't wrong myself anymore. I turned and walked toward the room, ignoring them. Sage Gu called out behind me, "Dina Chen, you." Kira Lin's voice was soft and weak, like a poisoned needle wrapped in honey. "Dina, I know you don't like me. I won't come again in the future." As she spoke, her eyes reddened, looking on the verge of tears. She picked up Jiangqi and turned to leave, but her steps were deliberately unsteady. I watched her retreating figure and let out a cold laugh. In my past life, I was completely fooled by this act of fragile innocence. After seeing Sage Gu out, he turned back with a displeased look on his face, staring at me. "Dina, what's wrong with you today? Why are you so impolite?" Giving guests the cold shoulder, I lay on the bed, motionless, not even bothering to lift my eyelids. He sighed, walked over to the bedside, and softened his tone a little. "Dina, there's absolutely nothing between Kira and me. Can you please stop being angry and misunderstanding? Don't have such dirty thoughts." Seeing that I didn't even glance at him, he seemed a bit anxious and explained further. "Yes, I admit I used to have feelings for Kira, But when she chose to marry Jiang Hai, in my heart she became just my sister-in-law. There's only a comradely friendship between us. After a moment of silence, he added, I've told you more than once. If Jiang Hai hadn't sacrificed himself to save me back then, Kira wouldn't have lost her husband, and Chichi wouldn't have lost his father. This is what I owe to them, mother and son. They're a widow and an orphan, so pitiful. It's my responsibility to protect and take care of them both. As a military spouse, you should understand and support me. Kira Lin's husband Jiang Hai and Sage Ji were as close as brothers, having enlisted together, and both fell for Kira Lin, who danced in the cultural troupe, but Kira Lin chose Jiang Hai, who held a higher military rank. On their wedding day, Sage Ji finally introduced me to his comrades, his fiancée from the countryside. Bound to him by a childhood betrothal, but no one expected that Jiang Hai would sacrifice himself to protect Sage Ji in a battle. Sage Ji was deeply remorseful in his heart, but what does this have to do with me? He owed a debt of gratitude and chose to repay it himself. Why drag me into it? In my previous life, he took my food ration coupons, the new quilt I had made, and the uncut fabric I had, and gave them to Kira Lin without my consent. I cried to him, saying those were my things and that I needed them too, but he told me to be generous and kind-hearted, or else I wouldn't be a qualified military wife, and now he even dares to say my thoughts are filthy, ridiculous. Which neighbor wouldn't notice how close Sage Ji and Kira Lin are, with their ambiguous relationship? Every day after work, instead of picking up his fiancée, me, Sage Ji goes to Kira Lin's workplace to take her home, along with her son, chatting and laughing all the way. Anyone who didn't know better would think they were the happy family of three. Sage Ji also frequently invites the mother and son duo over for meals at our place. I cook and I do the dishes. The mother and son duo sit down to eat as soon as they arrive. I'm practically a free nanny. The neighbors, both openly and subtly, warn me to be careful of Kira Lin, or else Sage Ji and I will end up divorced sooner or later. Forget it, there's no point in telling him these things now. This man, I don't want him anymore. He's not worth my time and energy. I looked up and said calmly, I'm not angry or misunderstanding anything. I'm just really tired and don't want to move. Hearing me say I wasn't angry or misunderstanding, Sage Ji visibly relaxed, his face showing a kind of post-crisis joy. Dina, I'm glad you're not angry. If you're tired, just rest. I'll make dinner, he said eagerly, turning to go into the kitchen. I lay on the bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. Mentally planning my trip to Beijing, the aroma of dinner wafted into the room, pulling me back from my thoughts. Dina, dinner's ready. Sage Gu's voice came from outside the door. I got up and walked to the dining table. A simple meal of 2 dishes and a soup felt strangely unfamiliar. In my past life, we had also sat like this across from each other, but back then my eyes were filled with love for him. Now, only coldness remained. Dina, I was thinking we could give our TV to Chichi to help pass the time. After all, we hardly ever watch it ourselves, Sage Ji cautiously suggested. I nearly laughed out loud. In our previous life, he simply took the TV without even asking for my opinion. The TV I had worked so hard to save up for was given away just like that. Without a second thought, I had a huge argument with him at the time. Kira Lin hypocritically offered to return the television, and Sage Ji, feeling humiliated, made an excuse about leaving the military and turned around to leave. He was gone for a whole month. When I went to see him, he said he was busy and had no time for me, yet I saw him making time to take Kira Lin and her child shopping for daily necessities on the street. I cared about Sage Ji, so I swallowed my pride and personally delivered the TV to Kira Lin's house. Only then did Sage Ji come home. He praised me for being a qualified military wife, kind and magnanimous. Looking back now, I laughed at myself mockingly. I really want to slap myself twice. What are you laughing at, Dina? Sage Ji looked at me with confusion. Nothing. I suppressed my smile. You can give the TV away if you want, but Kira Lin has to pay me at least $100. His expression changed instantly. I knew he was about to say I wasn't generous enough, that I lacked compassion. That TV cost $400 when we bought it. You paid $300, and I paid $100. Money I had to scrape together by borrowing from co-workers, and I still haven't paid them all back. I cut in before he could speak. I originally planned to use food stamps as collateral, but you gave mine to Kira Lynn. Now I have no money and no food stamps, and your salary is almost gone too. What am I supposed to eat and drink before next month's paycheck? Sage Gu was left speechless by my question, and after a long pause, he finally managed to say, "I'll get you the $100 as soon as possible." I knew that in the end, he would have to pay the $100 out of his own pocket. He couldn't bear to let Kira Lynn foot the bill. I didn't care how he scraped together the $100. All I wanted was to get the money, the travel expenses to Beijing, the registration fee, and living costs. $100 was far from enough. I must find a way to earn more money within this month. Early the next morning, Sage Gu hummed a tune as he moved the television away. After he left, I immediately started packing my things: old books, test papers, half-finished shoe soles, and the scarf and hat I had just knitted for Sage Gu. All were packed up and sold to the scrap collector. $20 isn't much, but it's the seed money for my new life. In the evening, Sage Gu handed me a $100 bill. I took it, counted it carefully twice, then put it in my pocket with satisfaction. "Dina, does the house seem to be missing something?" He looked around and asked in confusion. "No," I replied calmly, as if nothing had happened. "What about our photo together?" He pointed at the empty frame on the wall. "Oh, I accidentally broke the frame and stained the photo. I'll have it reframed later." I made up an excuse offhandedly. In truth, I had cut out my half of the photo. We're not a couple. This photo together only makes me feel disgusted and sick to my stomach. Dinner was only halfway through when Kira Lynn rushed in a panic. "Sage, there's a mouse in the house. I'm scared, and Chichi is crying from fright too. Come quickly and help me check." She pulled on Sage Gu's arm. Sage Gu looked at me awkwardly. I smiled and said, "Go ahead. They're a widow and her orphaned child. They need your help." He immediately stood up and followed Kira Lynn, watching their retreating figures. I felt no ripple of emotion, even finding it somewhat amusing. When I no longer care about someone, my heart can be this light. In the following days, Sage Gu transferred the benefits issued by the troops to Kira Lynn, and I didn't stop him. Sage Gu bought a dress for Kira Lynn, and I wasn't angry. Sage Gu stood up for Kira Lynn, telling those who bullied her that he was the support for her and her child, and I didn't care. Sage Gu took Kira Lynn and her child into the photo studio to take that family portrait I only learned about before my death. I didn't barge in to disturb them. Instead, I smiled and silently watched it all unfold. My calmness, however, made Sage Gu uneasy. "Dina, why haven't you been angry lately?" He asked me. "Why should I be angry?" I retorted. "They're a poor widow and orphan. It's only right for you to help them. I'm a proper military wife." He fell silent, wanting to say something but swallowing his words. After a long pause, he spoke to me in a placating tone. "Tomorrow, let's go to the supply and marketing cooperative together. We're running low on many daily necessities at home." Glancing at the calendar's notations, 15 more days, I said to him, "I won't be free tomorrow. I need to go back to my hometown. Your parents keep talking about us. You can't leave the base without permission." So I took some leave to go back and stay with them for a few days. "Dina, it's so good to have you." The gratitude in his eyes made me feel ironic. "Actually, I don't want to go, but I know I have to. Otherwise, if that accident happens again, I won't be able to go to Beijing in this lifetime either. In my past life, I couldn't go to university, not just because Sage Gu disagreed, but there was another reason too. Father Gu suddenly had a relapse of his old illness. Mother Gu, believing in a folk remedy suggested by the village elders, braved the heavy rain to gather herbs in the mountains. As a result, she broke her leg. At the time, considering myself as the daughter-in-law of the Gu family, I was as frantic as an ant on a hot pan upon hearing the news. Before Sage Gu could even speak, I had already packed my bags, ready to return to my hometown to take care of my in-laws. A bone injury takes 100 days to heal. By the time I finished taking care of my mother-in-law, Peking University School of Medicine would have long since started its semester. How could they possibly accept a student who was 2 months late? My arranged marriage with Sage Gu was decided by our grandfathers when they were drunk. The Gu family actually looks down on me. They believe someone as outstanding as Sage Ji should marry a wife who can help his career, not a country girl like me with no status or background. Nevertheless, they didn't make things difficult for me. When my parents passed away, the Ji family helped a lot. For the sake of this bond, I couldn't just stand by and watch something happen to Mrs. Ji. Moreover, I haven't completely severed ties with Sage Ji yet. Everyone assumes I'm his wife. If I don't take care of my in-laws when they're in trouble, wouldn't people criticize me behind my back? I returned just in time. As soon as Father Ji felt unwell, I immediately contacted the village chief and had him sent to the hospital. Mother Ji went along as well. 3 days later, I picked them up from the hospital safely. To ensure no further incidents, I stayed an extra week. That week, I did the laundry, cooked meals, chopped firewood, and tended the fire. I also bought them many daily necessities. When leaving, the elderly couple from the Ji family repeatedly said I was a good daughter-in-law. I smiled without saying a word, but in my heart, I thought, being your daughter-in-law is too exhausting, so I won't be one in this lifetime. 4 days, just 4 more days until I can start my new life. Taking the long-distance bus back, another day has passed. Upon arriving home, I pushed open the door and froze at the sight before me. Sage Ji was holding Kira Lin tightly around the waist, while Kira Lin's arms were wrapped around his neck. Their intimate posture resembled that of a couple deeply in love. Even though I had completely lost hope in Sage Ji after my rebirth, seeing this scene still inevitably stirred a surge of anger within me, especially that red dress on Kira Lin. It was glaringly eye-catching. That very dress. I had once lingered in front of the mall display window for ages, and Sage Ji promised to buy it for me as a birthday gift. Now, it was draped over another woman. Gifts or men, I stopped caring long ago. My sudden appearance clearly interrupted their moment. A trace of panic flashed across Sage Gu's face as he hastily pushed Kira Lin away. Kira Lin stumbled and nearly fell, yet the look she gave me held a hint of triumph and provocation, as if declaring her sovereignty. "Dina, you're back." Sage Gu's voice trembled slightly, his eyes darting around, unable to meet my gaze. "It's not what you think, He was eager to explain but didn't know where to begin. Kira Lin also spoke up softly. "Dina, don't misunderstand. I accidentally stepped on a toy on the floor and almost fell. Sage just helped me up." As she spoke, she lowered her head to adjust her skirt, putting on a pitiful and delicate appearance. I watched their clumsy performance with an expressionless face, feeling nothing but amusement inside. Got it. No misunderstanding," I replied flatly with 6 words, my tone so calm it betrayed no emotion. My reaction seemed to take Sage Ji by surprise. He frowned at me, his gaze carrying a hint of sorrow. He grabbed my arm, seemingly wanting to say something, but then hesitated and held back. Just then, a clear child's voice broke the awkward silence. "Mom, Dad, look, isn't the little boat I folded pretty?" Jiang Qi ran excitedly up to Kira Lin, holding a neatly folded paper boat in his hand. My gaze fell upon that paper boat, and my pupils suddenly constricted. That piece of paper. Why does it look so much like my college acceptance letter? Could it be? Could it be? My heart suddenly raced, a surge of intense anger and panic instantly sweeping through my body. I snatched the paper boat away abruptly. Jiang Qi burst into loud wails. Tears and snot smeared all over his face. Sage Ji quickly pulled Jiang Qi into his arms, gently patting his back. "Chichi, be good, don't cry, don't cry." Kira Lin wiped the tears from her son's face with a pained expression while shooting me a venomous glare. "Dina Chen, no matter how much you can't stand me, you shouldn't take your resentment out on Chichi. He's just a child. What has he done wrong?" At that moment, my attention was entirely focused on this piece of paper. Their voices buzzed like mosquitoes in my ears, and I automatically tuned them out. Unfolding the paper boat, I gasped for breath. Luckily, it's not my admission letter, but my nerves are still on edge. I immediately turn around and go back to my room. Crawling under the bed, after a few flips, I uncovered the admission letter I had hidden. Seeing the admission letter intact, only then did my nervousness completely ease. I quickly tucked the admission letter into my satchel. I must ensure my admission letter remains intact before I go to Beijing to report. "Dina, go apologize to Chichi." Sage Gu's deep, accusatory voice reached my ears. I turned my head and saw the family of 3 standing at the door. Jiang Qi's eyes were brimming with tears, her little face flushed red, sniffling as if waiting for my apology. But I felt no remorse in my heart, even if he didn't fold my admission letter into a paper boat. He tore up my workbook without my permission. Shouldn't I be angry? I just hadn't had the chance to question them yet. Jiang Qi started yelling at me. Bad auntie, stinky auntie, I hate you, Daddy, hurry up and kick this bad auntie out of our house, he cried, clinging tightly to Sage Gu's neck. Kira Lin quickly covered Jiang Qi's mouth. Kids say silly things. Don't take it to heart, Dina, she smiled obsequiously. As if the venomous look she had given me earlier was just my imagination, only then did I notice that the room, which originally belonged to me, was now filled with Kira Lin and her son's belongings, bright red peony-patterned bedsheets, the face cream I couldn't bear to buy on the dressing table, and small toys scattered all over the floor. I recall the floral dress left unfolded by Luca Kira in the living room, along with her son's navy-style children's clothes. Where are my things? Looking around, the once carefully arranged little nest now feels filled with an unfamiliar air. As someone still bearing the title of Sage Gu's fiancé, I suddenly felt like a stranger who had just dropped by uninvited. An indescribable sense of absurdity welled up in my heart. Sage Gu looked flustered, his eyes darting around as he hurried to explain. Dina, here's the thing. Kira has been stalked by a thug recently and hasn't been sleeping well at night since you weren't home these past few days. I took the liberty of bringing her and her child to stay with us for a while. The hooligan has been caught, so the mother and son can move back tomorrow, he added. For tonight, you'll have to make do with me. After all, it's only a matter of time before we're together. Sage Gu and I haven't had our official wedding ceremony yet, so we're not sharing a room. Upon hearing Sage Gu's words, Kira Lin shot me a glance with a flicker of anger, but quickly replaced it with a smile. Dina, we'll just stay one more night and return the room to you tomorrow. Before we leave, I'll make sure your room is restored exactly as it was. I know she doesn't want to leave at all. I even suspect that the so-called hooligan was hired by her. As she spoke, she suddenly burst into tears. If it weren't for Jianghai's death, why would we mother and son trouble Sage? Dina, don't worry, no matter how hard life gets, we won't trouble Sage again. Her words are bound to make Sage Gu's heart ache again. What are you talking about, Kira? Jianghai is my elder brother, and you are my sister-in-law. Besides, he sacrificed himself to save me. It's my duty and responsibility to take care of you and your child. Dina is kind-hearted. She understands me. I don't understand, nor do I want to. Where are my things? I asked coldly, staring straight at Sage Gu. In my room. He took me to his room. Check if anything is missing. I glanced around and nodded. Everything's here. Is that so? But why do I feel like your stuff has gotten less? Sage Gu asked suspiciously. What happened to the shoe soles you used to make? I was just thinking of getting a new pair. Rare to see you noticing that my things have decreased. They were ruined, so I threw them away. If you want a pair, go buy them yourself. Dina, you. Sage Gu frowned, his tone carrying a hint of grievance. You've stopped smiling as much. No, I'm just a bit tired. My tone remained indifferent. He sighed and changed the subject. How are my parents doing? They're doing well, just missing you. I replied flatly. I miss them too. When the army isn't so busy one day, let's go back home together to visit them. He smiled at me, suddenly looking a bit embarrassed, and said, the greatest wish of the elderly is to hold their grandchild, so we should fulfill their wish as soon as possible. Hold their grandchild. Hey, in my past life, I accidentally had a miscarriage that harmed my body, leaving me childless. In this lifetime, if they want a grandson, they should go find Kira Lin. Dina, I have something for you. He pulled me to sit by the bed, then took 2 tickets out of the drawer. You've always wanted to watch a movie, right? The day after tomorrow is your birthday. Let's go see one together. His voice was gentle, his eyes carrying a hint of eagerness to please. I used to long for us to be like any ordinary couple, buying 2 sodas, holding hands, and going to the movies together, but Sage Gu always said he was busy and had no time. In our past life, we never got to watch a movie together before we died. Now, he's actually taken the unprecedented initiative to buy tickets and wants to watch a movie with me. How ironic, 3 days later, it's my last day staying here, then let's go see it. Consider it fulfilling a dream for the past version of me who had eyes only for him. The next day, after Sage Gu went to the military unit, Kira Lin and her son dawdled while packing their things. Mom, I don't want to go, I don't want to go, this is Dad's home, and Dad's home is our home, I don't want to leave. Jiang Qi cried, clinging to Kira Lin's leg. Alright, be good, Chichi, listen to me, Mom will bring you back here sooner or later, and then no one will be able to kick us out. Kira Lin comforted him. Unfortunately, I happened to be standing at the door when she said that. Kira Lin turned her head, saw me, and a flicker of panic flashed across her face before she quickly regained her composure. She no longer pretended, looking at me provocatively. Dina Chen, don't get too cocky. Sage Gu is only fulfilling an elder's promise to you. The one he truly loves is me. I smiled. Are you sure? Kira Lin froze for a moment. Sage said we're going to have our wedding at the end of the year and invite everyone. I lied, my tone calm but with a hint of barely concealed pride. Kira Lin's expression changed slightly. Not only that, I continued, he even bought 2 movie tickets to take me to see Romance on Lushan Mountain. The night after tomorrow, Romance on Lushan Mountain was an extremely popular love movie in the 1980s, with tickets so hard to come by that many people couldn't get to see it. I know Kira Lin must really want to go. Sure enough, a flash of jealousy crossed her eyes, but she stubbornly said, what's so fun about watching movies? It's just a waste of money. I shrugged and let it go with a smile. Let's go. Kira Lin tugged at Jiang Qi, speeding up her packing. After much dawdling, the mother and son finally moved all their things away. Not long after, I also went out to buy a train ticket. I bought the earliest available ticket. I also bought quite a bit of food, after all. It takes 3 days and 4 nights to get to Beijing by train from here. In the blink of an eye, it was the day Sage Gu had promised to watch a movie together. That day, before the usual time to get off work, Sage Gu had already returned from the military base. He was riding a bicycle with a cardboard box tied to the back seat. Dina, I'm back, he called out to me from afar. I stood at the door, watching him ride toward me, my heart filled with mixed emotions. What's this? I asked, pointing at the box on the back seat. A gift for you. He stopped the bike and took out a cassette tape from the box. Teresa Teng's songs. I know you female comrades all like Teresa Teng's songs. Actually, I think they're quite pleasant to listen to too, he said with a smile, holding the cassette tape. I frowned slightly. The one who likes Teresa Teng is Kira Lin. My favorite singer is Li Gai. But he doesn't know, he never knew what I liked or disliked. The kindness he thought he showed me was actually based on his assumption that all women like the same things. What Kira Lin likes, I'm sure to like too. Let's go, let's get something to eat. He took my hand. We went to the state-run restaurant. He ordered a bowl of longevity noodles and a few hometown dishes. Every year on your birthday from now on, we'll eat out, he said. I silently ate my noodles without saying a word. In my past life, he had said the same thing, but later. Not once did he truly celebrate my birthday with me. After dinner, we walked to the cinema. The movie will start in 10 minutes. Sage Gu noticed other couples bringing rice candy. Do you want some? He asked me. I shook my head, but he still went to buy it. However, just as he brought the rice candy back, Kira Lin appeared. She looked flustered and grabbed Sage Gu's hand. Sage, Chichi, he has a high fever. He's burning up. Can you take us to the military hospital? She said in a tearful voice. Sage Gu immediately furrowed his brow, his face filled with tension. Kira Lin, afraid I might refuse, pleaded through her tears. I'm a poor, unfortunate woman. My husband left us too soon, and if anything happens to my son, I won't be able to go on living, she cried pitifully, her tears falling like pear blossoms in the rain, a sight that would move anyone to compassion. Dina, I'm sorry, Sage Gu glanced at me, his hand holding the 2 movie tickets feeling as heavy as 1,000 pounds. You should go quickly, Chichi's safety is the priority. I smiled at him, my tone so calm it was as if it had nothing to do with me. Dina, take the tickets first. When it's time, go in ahead and leave one at the front desk. I'll come to join you as soon as I take them to the hospital, he explained urgently. I took the movie tickets and nodded. Sage Gu turned and followed Kira Lin. I knew that once Sage Jiu left with Kira Lin, she wouldn't let him return easily, watching his retreating figure. I softly said, "Farewell, Sage Jiu." I returned home, took out the luggage I had already packed, and went to a hotel near the train station. I had a good night's sleep. I woke up at 5, washed up, and had breakfast. Then I took my luggage to the train station. After passing through the ticket gate, I boarded the train bound for Beijing. The train's whistle blew with a woo-woo sound, as if repeatedly reminding me, "Dina Chen, a new chapter of your life is about to begin." At Peking University Health Science Center, I smoothly enrolled, smoothly moved into the dormitory, and smoothly started a new life. I chose the pharmaceutical research major and devoted almost all my time to studying and experiments. Before I knew it, I had been at Peking University Health Science Center for nearly half a year. I thought I would never see Sage Jiu again. I never expected him to suddenly appear downstairs at my dorm. He looked utterly exhausted, completely devoid of his usual vigor. His head and arms were wrapped in bandages, clearly not fully recovered from his injuries. What on earth happened to him? "Dina," he exclaimed excitedly upon seeing me. He staggered towards me. Why did you leave without saying a word?" His voice carried a hint of grievance, like a child who had been abandoned. "I searched for you for so long." He lowered his head, his voice choked with emotion. "I asked your teacher and only then found out you got into Peking University Health Science Center." "Then what?" I said coldly. "Why didn't you tell me? I would have celebrated for you." "Celebrated?" I laughed. He didn't understand my smile and continued, "I originally planned to come to Beijing to find you, but the military issued an urgent order, and I had to carry out the mission. I was injured during the mission and had to lie in bed for several months before I could walk again. The first thing I did was come to Beijing to find you." As he spoke, his eyes reddened. Looking at him in this state, I felt not a single ripple in my heart. "Go back. There's nothing between us anymore," I said firmly. "How could there be no connection?" He grew anxious. We're husband and wife. You're my wife." I looked at him and sneered. "Do we have a marriage certificate?" He froze, stammering, I lost my previous marriage application. I'll submit a new one to the organization, and then we'll go register at the Civil Affairs Bureau." "I won't go with you," I said resolutely. "I won't marry you either. Go back. Go back and live a good life with Kira Lin and her child." Hearing the name Kira Lin, his expression changed. "Dina, why do you always misunderstand my relationship with Kira? I only feel responsible for them." He hastily explained, "From the beginning to the end, I only wanted to marry you. This has nothing to do with Kira Lin." I interrupted him. "I'm just studying hard to contribute to my country's medical field, not to become someone's wife." He was stunned. You actually have such noble ideals." "I always thought I could only be a housewife revolving around you." "No, that's not what I meant." Sage Jiu flustered, then added, "If you don't want to go back to get married, I'll come to Beijing and marry you. I'll apply for a transfer to Beijing with the military. When the time comes." "That's enough, Sage Jiu," I interrupted him. "I don't want to marry you, and it has nothing to do with anyone else. It's simply because I don't like you anymore. I hope you'll never be a part of my life again." He froze, his lips trembling for a long moment before he finally spoke. "How is that possible? Dina, I don't believe you. You're lying." "I'm not lying, believe it or not. It's up to you." I didn't want to waste my breath arguing with him, so I turned and headed back to the dorm. Behind me, Sage Jiu still wouldn't give up, shouting at me, "Dina, wait for me. I will definitely transfer to Beijing." Sage Jiu, who had vowed to come to Beijing, never set foot in the city again. That's fine. Without his disturbances, my studies became much more efficient. However, I later accidentally heard some things about him from a fellow villager. Sage Jiu was commended and promoted for completing that mission exceptionally well. He actively applied for a transfer to Beijing. The organization approved it. Kira Lin heard about the matter and, holding her son, tearfully begged him not to leave. Sage Jiu refused her request for the first time and formally corrected Jiang Qi's way of addressing him. From now on, he could only call him Uncle Jiang. He promised Kira Lin that he would set aside a small portion of his salary each month to help her raise Jiang Qi, but that was all there was to it. Kira Lin agreed. Before Sage Ji was about to come to Beijing, she said she wanted to give her a farewell dinner and prepared food and drinks, but she drugged them, and the two ended up having sex. Kira Lin then blackmailed Sage Ji into marrying her, threatening to jump into a river with their child if he refused. This incident caused a huge uproar. After the military learned about this incident, they severely criticized Sage Ji, rejected his transfer to Beijing, and demoted him by 2 ranks. Only then did Sage Ji see Kira Lin's true colors, and ultimately had no choice but to marry Kira Lin. After hearing this news, I remained silent for a moment. In my past life, he exhausted all my life's efforts for Kira Lin and her child. In this life, he was still schemed against by Kira Lin and ultimately married her. Perhaps, this is their destined fate. My heart remains utterly unmoved. This is just some idle gossip I heard over tea and dinner. Compared to all this nonsense about Sage Ji, I'm more concerned about my experimental data. I closed my lab notebook and walked toward the window in the laboratory. Winter in Beijing remains dry and cold as ever, but my heart is filled with hope and passion. I will continue my research, exploring the mysteries of life and tackling medical challenges. This is the life I truly desire. In the year I graduated with my master's degree, my advisor asked if I wanted to participate in a national project conducting pharmaceutical research in impoverished areas. The goal is to develop drugs that aid in treating diseases and extending human lifespan. This is a grand project beneficial to all of humanity. It is an honor for me to be invited. Without hesitation, I nodded to express my desire to participate in this project. Stepping into the research base, my world is only about research. My team and I work hard in the base, united with each other. Over 30 years, we have published many authoritative medical papers and developed hundreds of drugs beneficial to human health. We have received praise from the nation, acclaim from the world. 30 years, with the changes of time, our motherland is thriving, already transformed beyond recognition. The leaders from my hometown invited me back for a visit and to give a speech, seeing the changes in my hometown. The muddy mountain roads have all been paved with asphalt. The dilapidated brick and tile houses have turned into rows of small Western-style buildings, and every household now has a car parked in front of their home. My heart is filled with countless emotions. It is the hard work and selfless dedication of countless compatriots that has lifted this nation out of poverty and into prosperity. After visiting my hometown, I am ready to return to the research institute to continue my studies. But just before leaving, the village chief said there was someone who insisted on seeing me, Comrade Dina Chen. He says he knows you and absolutely must meet you, the village chief said, rubbing his hands together with some hesitation. I nodded. Then let's meet. The man walked toward us step by step with great difficulty, leaning on a cane. His dark, wrinkled skin and patched clothes were accompanied by a gaze filled with complexity as he looked at me. A sense of familiarity washed over me. Yet I couldn't recall who he was. Trembling, he stopped in front of me, his clouded eyes glistening with tears. Dina, you did it. You've made a great contribution to our country. The voice was hoarse and low, yet it instantly told me who he was. Sage Ji. The once high-spirited young man had now become a frail old man on the verge of life's end. My heart was filled with mixed emotions. Are you okay? Where are Kira and Jiangqi? He laughed, a sorrowful laugh, like the last leaf trembling on a withered branch. Kira, she's gone. Gone. Where did she go? He shook his head, his eyes empty. I don't know. She ran off with another man and never came back. My heart sank heavily. What about Jiangqi? His smile grew even more bitter, and murky tears streamed down his deeply lined cheeks. Jiangqi. He's gone too. My breath hitched as I stared at him in disbelief. How could this? He closed his eyes in anguish, taking a deep breath as if trying to inhale all the sorrow into his lungs. He got involved with gangs and was beaten to death. I never would have thought that the boy who was once spoiled by his mother would end up on such a path of no return. How could this happen? I murmured to myself, feeling utterly lost. Sage Ji slowly opened his eyes, his gaze filled with regret and self-reproach. It's all my fault. I didn't keep him under control. Choking back sobs, he haltingly recounted the experiences of these past years. Although he and Kira Lin were married, their life together was in constant turmoil. With Kira Lin frequently picking fights over trivial matters, he simply moved into the barracks, out of sight and out of mind. Later, on another mission, he got injured again, crippling his leg and rendering him unable to continue fighting. Leading to an honorable discharge, Kira Lin used his severance pay to invest, but ended up losing everything. Jiang Qi went through a rebellious phase, strayed onto the wrong path, got involved with the mafia, and was eventually beaten to death. Kira Lin broke down in tears, accusing Sage Ji of being incapable of avenging their son, then took the remaining assets and ran off with another man, disappearing without a trace. After listening, I felt a pang of melancholy, looking at Sage Ji now. I felt no resentment, only deep sympathy. Things will get better. I comforted him. Our country treats every citizen with kindness. He looked at me with a complex expression, and after a long pause, he finally said slowly, "Dina, thank you." I smiled, turned to leave, but he suddenly called out to me again. With a trembling voice, he said to me, "Dina, I'm sorry. If it weren't for me, you should have shone brightly in this world in your previous life." I stared at him in shock. Sage Ji wiped away his murky tears and slowly nodded. "Yes, I've also been reborn. During that last mission, I was severely injured and remained unconscious for a long time." His voice was hoarse and low, as if coming from a distant place. In my unconscious state, I saw, he paused, as if searching for words. I saw everything that happened in our past lives. My heart skipped a beat, and an indescribable premonition surged within me. I saw your joy upon receiving the admission letter. Yet I selfishly asked you to give up your dream, he continued, a hint of regret in his tone. I also saw how Kira Lin and Jiang Qi treated you after my death. His voice choked up, tears once again streaming down his deeply lined cheeks. They were trying to drive you out. He closed his eyes in pain, as if unwilling to recall that cruel scene. My breathing grew rapid, as if I had returned to that moment of despair. I saw you having a heart attack, collapsing on the ground. His voice trembled, filled with self-reproach. That moment, I realized just how terribly wrong I was. He opened his eyes, his gaze filled with pain and regret. I always believed that a woman, once married, should regard her husband as her heaven and support everything he does. He smiled self-deprecatingly. Yet I never cared about your feelings or your thoughts. I unconditionally trusted Kira Lin and Jiang Qi, only to end up raising two ungrateful wolves with my own hands. His voice was full of exhaustion and despair. I listened quietly, my heart a whirl of mixed emotions. After I came to my senses, I really wanted to find you, to tell you. He paused, a hint of hesitation in his voice, to tell you that the only person I truly love is you. My heart trembled violently, but soon regained its calm. My feelings for Kira Lin and Jiang Qi were really just out of a sense of responsibility, he added, his tone resolute, but I didn't have the courage to see you. He lowered his head, like a child who had done something wrong. Do you hate me? He lifted his head and asked me cautiously, his eyes filled with unease. I looked at him, this once high-spirited young man who had now become a weather-beaten old man. I shook my head. I stopped hating you long ago. You don't have to drown in past regrets either, I said calmly. We were simply two people who weren't meant to be. I've lived a full and meaningful life, I said, gazing into the distance with firm conviction. In the days I have left, I will continue to contribute my worth and serve my country. He nodded with a choked voice, tears glistening in his eyes. I boarded the special vehicle, watching my homeland fade into the distance. My heart at peace. My life journey continues. My research is still ongoing. My country will become increasingly prosperous and thriving.